Write down that joke. Let's move on. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and I think I know who you are by now. I am Tobias the Adequate, a magician by trade, a prestidigitator, a mountebank, a charlatan, a man who went to college until they told me to stop. Fine arts majors of the world unite. I always get a good yell for that. Now, folks, over the years I've been doing a lot of weird things in this show, and it's come to my attention that some audiences don't understand the difference between being mystified by a feat of magic and being confused by inexplicable behavior. Considering some of the things I've done, I can understand why. And what I'm about to do probably won't improve matters much. But I do have a mystery here. This is the entire show this time around. It was great when I came out for our rehearsal. Jules looked at me and said, "That's all you're bringing out?" Yes, traveling light today. However, I do have in my hand here 4 cards which, if purchased at a magic store, would cost the magician the exact same amount of money as your first card. Yeah, I know. Now they are cards, simple cheap pieces of plastic, but it does talk a lot about the vulgarity of the English language. You see, when we talk about cards and card games, people often talk about hole cards, having an ace in the hole. What do they really mean? You see, my first card here is a hole card. It's called a hole card because it has a hole in it. My second card, however, has no hole, and that is a hole card. Now the third card is a hole card with no hole, and the fourth card is a hole card with a hole. So you see, we have 2 hole cards and 2 hole cards. You with me so far? I can hear your eyeballs glazing over from here. What happens here is we take one of the hole cards, we turn it over, we put it behind one of the hole cards. That is to say, we take the hole card with no hole and turn it over and put it behind the hole card with the hole. You notice that the back of the hole card with no hole shows through the hole card with the hole, giving the impression that the hole card with the hole is in fact a hole card with no hole, but it does have a spot on it. I have no idea what I'm talking about. On the other hand, you see with the hole card behind the hole card, so it's a hole card with the hole, looks like it is a hole card with no hole, but with a spot on it. The other card is the same as the first one. So you see what we have here is we have something that appears to be 2 hole cards with no hole, but a spot in it, when in fact what we've got is a hole card with a hole in front of a hole card with no hole, making the hole card with the hole appear to be a hole card. There will be a test later. Now, having gotten that level of confusion, we're going to make things just a little worse. You see, if we give this a little shake like that, which is what magicians do when they really have nothing productive to do with their hands. Sit at home all day to do that. Easy now. Show's just started. We got an hour before we really have to hit the gun. But what happens then is the hole card with the spot, that appears to be a spot because it is in fact in front of the hole card with no hole, turns into a hole card with a spot and there's no hole. Which is kind of cool if you think about it. You're not laughing now. But we'll get back to that one in a minute. And that still leaves us with a hole card with no hole and a hole card with a hole, and in fact a hole card with no hole again. Now if we put this hole card in front of this hole card once again, we now have what appears to be a hole card with a spot on it. We also have a hole card with no spots on it, and I've already got a hole card with a spot. But what the heck? Just through sheer peer pressure alone, we then turn into a hole card with a whole bunch of spots. 2 down, 2 to go. Meanwhile, back at the hole card and the hole card, we don't even need to use the whole hole card to make a hole card appear to be a hole card. We just use the corner of the hole card, see, like that. What gets really interesting here is if we take this hole card Give it a quick flex like that. And the whole card, in fact, becomes a card with a spot so big, it covers the entire card. I cannot believe they went for that. They cannot believe you went for that. Well done, audience. Now, let's still immediately give this whole card with no spot. So just to make it feel better, we now have a whole card with a spot. We have a whole card with a spot that covers the entire whole. And we have a whole bunch of spots. Now, the problem with this whole organization is that we have all of these spots, and everybody's watching the spots, but in fact, what you should be watching is the whole. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And you all live forever.